Alright, you are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. It's coming up to 200 days pretty fucking quickly, and I'm really starting to forget what I've talked about previously. My memory is getting real fucking scratchy, and one of my fears is repeating a story, but repeating it completely fucking differently. Adding some people, adding some extra excitement, adding some extra heroics on my behalf, you know, telling a fucking story that I've told before and then just fucking adding some extra shit. I try not to embellish. All my stories are verifiable. Just ask me what story and I'll point you to the person who I was with. Because usually when I was acting like a fucking idiot, it was in front of someone and really for them more than anything else. Now I need to go back and start re-listening to all these fucking podcasts, and I hate listening to my own voice. I'm sick of it. It's actually good to get all my stories down on the record now while I still have a fucking memory, because my dad's stories are starting to fucking change a little bit as he gets older. From what they were to what they are now. He is adding some fucking extra curry to his stories now. And his stories were already fucking out of control. His stories are probably the main reason I was such a fuck up for so long. Dad was the best fucking storyteller. Not so much now. Definitely not so much now. But when I was growing up, his stories were the fucking shit. Just listening to the crazy stories of him growing up in New Zealand, in Auckland, West Auckland, and the adventures he got up to. I still remember all the names of all the people in his stories. I've never met them, but I know who they are. Billy Delaney, Stephen Theobald, Steve Martin, Rob McGlone, Christine Craigie, Lorraine Jenkins, Thomas Turangi, the Manuals next door. But the problem was, Dad started telling me these fucking crazy drug stories and fucking fighting stories and just general crime stories when I was about 10. I just used to sit there and listen to his stories for like hours and ask questions and find out who's who. And at some point I made the decision that my only goal in life was to collect stories and have stories as good as my dad's stories. I remember him telling me this story when I was like 11. I didn't even know what acid was, and he had to explain to me what fucking acid was. He said they got a roll of acid tabs, and he took one on the Thursday night, and he woke up the next day, and his house was completely fucking trashed, totaled. Everything in it was broken, windows smashed, just completely fucked up. And he was like, what the fuck happened last night? So he called up his girlfriend, and he's like, what happened last night? And she's like, that was 5 days ago. You've been out of your fucking mind for 5 days and you just clicked out of it now. He reckons he never recovered from that session. But yeah, hundreds of stories like that, more detail obviously. So he's telling me when I'm a kid and I'm just going, fuck, he's lived such an amazing life. But looking at it from my perspective now, he was just a fucking trash bag. He was just a scumbag, just doing scumbag things. It was just dodgy shit. And the other thing is, he's been going back to high school reunions every 5-10 years. And he's been bringing up stories and telling stories at the reunions, some of his classics. And some of the people who were there are like, no, didn't happen like that. Actually, that didn't even happen at all. So I think he's been adding a little bit of curry on some of his stories for a while. There was another story that got fucking debunked as well. He had a mate he moved from New Zealand to Australia with, and he said they got fucking hammered one night, and my old man convinced his mate to get matching tattoos of the New Zealand flag and a silver fern through it, or some shit like that. And they get down, it's like midnight, they get to the tattoo shop. My dad's mate gets the tattoo. Dad sees how shit the tattoo is and backs out of it. And apparently that guy never spoke to Dad again. Anyway, that's the story I heard for many, many years. Then that guy recently, a couple of years ago, tracked down Dad and ended up staying at his place for a couple of nights. And when they were having a drink, Dad brought up the story about the tattoo, and his mate was like, it didn't happen like that at all. Dad's mate was like, no, I'd been wanting to get that tattoo for over a year, and we were drunk, and I said I was going to get it, and you said you'll get one too, and you just never ended up getting a tattoo. So yeah, that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about just making up fucking stories to entertain. Fuck it, I'm going to tell some of Dad's stories at some point. They're fucking good stories. But that's it for me tonight. Can you start sending in your stories to me? Send in your drunken stories so I can read them out on Friday for Fucked Up Fridays. Send them in to me on social media. I am Boyle Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Send them in. I know it takes 5 minutes to write a story. Just send it in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, share it with your friends, your drunken maniac friends. Give us a rating, review, blah, blah, blah. And I'll see you fucking tomorrow.